actually, the key thing here is not so much time. Now that I've done this, I've been starting to work on this a bit further, but it's really start first. It's really the first time.
Yeah.
Right? The first time you do this takes you a lot of time, so you don't do it because you're thinking you're not training yourself in doing this because it's that you think I should do this, I should do this. The first step that takes a lot. It's the threshold, right? It's when you right. It's you're here, right, as a person, right? The problem is you want to be here, right? And it's the root is this.
Yeah, so what I was going to say is that I think another barrier perhaps to writing this data management plan is that right at the very start of the project, you might not have all of the information. You might be at a stage of thinking, well, I actually just don't know what data I'm going to have or need, or it might be too daunting, but it's that big cliff.
Yeah.
So I'd say that in that case, just write down what information you do have, and to think of a data management plan as a living document. So you can start by writing down, at least you're going to create the data, so you can write down your name as the creator. At least you know the project that it relates to. And then later down the track, you can update the plan with a little bit more information when you get it. And that way, it's not too much of a hurdle.
Jadi pertama mungkin masalah time versus reward. Tapi given given now is the early stage in your research. So in Ministry of Education, the first 3 months is really a preparation stage. Yeah, so this is probably the best time that if you want to make this kind of argument when the research is not running.
Yes, and I think there's also a difference between whether you're a researcher like me, where I have to do projects, or whether you're a PhD student. I think, and this is the hard thing for me, I'm going to tell all my PhD students to do this, and I really should be doing that too, right? And I find it hard to do it because of the time that I need to invest in that. But I think, even for myself, learning about this, really in my next project, I really should be doing this as well. I will be doing this as well, right? But I think that's, so for a PhD student, I would definitely say, go and do this. Train yourself straight away in trying to do this. If you're an established researcher, I would say, really try to do this too, I know, there's many things that are happening and maybe you find this not as easy to do, but you write the proposal anyway. You have to write the proposal to get the money. I don't think it will be that hard if you write the proposal to write the actual, to do the DMP tool straight away. So yes, it's a hurdle. It's a thing that you're thinking about, and that's why I'm just trying to express that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that will be the reason. If you would talk to all your fellow researchers here in ITB, the first thing they'll say is, I don't have time for that. I'm too busy. Maybe in a month, come back, right? So I think that's what I'm saying. It's a barrier to try and see how you can find a smart way. Not for us. We're now saying, okay, we've got to do this. But if we're trying to convince the rest of ITB or the rest of the University of Sydney to do this, that will be the first argument that people will use. I'm too busy for that. And so it's trying to convince them that there are tools out there that actually don't. It isn't that hard. And that's, I think, still always what I look for. I look for these tools try and help, or a document to help people make that quick first step, to make that threshold a bit lower.
Jadi masalah kemudahan ini juga kami di sini, the three of us is also think about the easiest way, the simplest way that you can implement this workflow without having to give you more burden than you already have, ya kan? Jadi menurut saya, bilang tadi sudah saya sampaikan, mungkin bisa diambil dari proposal, research proposal, ambil bagian-bagian yang berkaitan dengan ini, ya kan? Kemudian coba isikan ke DMB tools, try to fit some small portion of your proposal that related to these items into the DMB tools. Atau kalau ibu dan bapak prefer to use OSF, maka bisa pakai OSF registry. Ya, itu ada juga optionnya itu dengan pertanyaan with the list of question that's not really far from the ones that DMB tool has. Ya, jadi ini adalah mungkin we have to set an example. Jadi kalau misalnya if you're a PhD student, then the best way, I guess, to spread the word is to set a good example in your work, and then try to tell your supervisors maybe when you're in a seminar, you tell people that I have a set of documents, a set of output that relates to the research data management, that you find it very helpful to move forward to the actual research and how to handle the data, to manage the data. Jadi kita bisa sebarkan itu pada saat seminar. Jadi don't forget kalau misalnya akan seminar in your second, third, or fourth seminar, sisipkan, insert the message from this workshop into the audience. Jadi ini mungkin bisa, kemudian, nah ini, this one would be another question about whether we should make the data public at the very beginning or maybe in later stage in your research. Jadi ini perlu, in this box, we need to have some kind of agreement with maybe your supervisor, because untuk kami yang mungkin sudah pernah menjadi PI for us that have an experiment to be a PI, principal investigator, we can push the member of the research to, we can share our idea and make a strong point about why we should make this. The decision is on us as a principal investigator. But if you're a PhD student or master student, maka you have to make an agreement with your supervisor about this, when to publish your data. Itu penting. Setidaknya pada saat tahap tertentu menjelang akhir atau pada saat makalah sudah submit, mungkin di situ critical point. Jadi pada saat you submit your article perhaps in a journal or in a conference, then you should start to think to share the data in the manuscript or cite your data. Jadi kalau ibu bapak sudah upload, if you upload your data in repository, say OSF, and then you can cite your data in your main article. Tapi Willem dan Jin juga sudah mengingatkan, tidak, it's a complete two different things to share your data and to try to moderate the access to the data, right? So we still can cite and share the link to the data in the early part of the research, but we can set the author, we can regulate the repository to be open only by person that have permission from us. It's not completely open, bisa juga seperti itu. Jadi mungkin kita perlu juga memikirkan itu. Ya, jadi share, tapi sebelum ibu dan bapak lulus, completely graduate or completely finish your education, just keep the repository to be private, and you can moderate the access to the repository. Jadi bapak ibu bisa membatasi dan mengatur dan memoderasi siapa yang mau akses repository. Nah, atau ini untuk data-data sensitif mungkin until 20 years or 30 years to finally define that your data is open data. Jadi yang penting, the important thing is we have the workflow to data as neat as possible, so you can find it easy, and the readers or the users that have your permission to see the data can follow your data and analysis in the easy. Yeah, maybe that's the message in this slide.
Yeah, it's that there are different options. So
yeah,
that's the key thing we want to say. You don't have to straight away decide. You go all the way to open data. You can do it later.
Yeah.
But you should still have the right design to make it possible later.
Yeah.
Even if you're staying private all the way, because then for data curation, if you're not there anymore and someone else is still there, then still it's important that data is look at it 20 years later, like me trying to read my PhD data, it would be great if I had a good research data management plan, and if I had organized my folders very strictly and had good reading. Right now, I'm going to be finding it hard to what is the raw data, like all the data that I need. So that's the way you got to think about it. That was the slide on the first presentation that I gave. Yeah. Really doing that is you're sending yourself a message to yourself in the future.
Like time capsule.
Yeah, it's a time capsule. In 10 years' time, that was the one about the metadata, right? Go on. No. Here, this little thing, this little graphic, it's really about the message to yourself in the future. Right?
Future. Ya, jadi ini slide yang ilustratif. Illustrative slides.
So I think we have a driver here that we say.
Jadi seolah Anda berkirim surat ke Anda sendiri di masa depan, supaya diri Anda di masa depan itu tetap bisa mencari, menemukan, dan mengelola, bahkan mungkin mengembangkan data yang Anda miliki sendiri. Itu adalah the minimum reasons to do this workflow. Jadi, as Willem said, it's not you don't have to decide at the very beginning to set the data open, but at least ini adalah minimum motivation to do this data management.
So here the barrier was, we said, and this is kind of comes back to the slide from John Cannon. Shy, you're shy about your data. Yeah. So you're worried other people might, laugh at you for your data or write nasty comments, right?
Yeah.
Or you might be someone might steal my data. That might be a barrier, right?
Yeah. sometimes the feel that people might steal the data is.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it is. So here it is, this is the same, right? Fear of errors in public humiliation, fear of not being scooping or IDs being stolen, fear of not being credited for IDs, right? There are similar, you're worried about that, but you know, the good thing about it is you can keep, you know, keep your state driver first.
Yeah. So you are really sure that you've done your analysis.
Maybe,
Yeah.
but what's the driver making it straight away open? What's the big driver making it straight away open? As a counter on that. What if you're doing this research and there's someone else in the United States doing similar research, not exactly the same, and doing all this interesting. So what if there is someone else in another country doing similar research, and he finds your research because you made it open, and he or she, and they send you, then straight away send you an email saying, oh, this is fantastic research, can we do something together? I've got the similar data set, can we bring it together? So opportunities for increased collaboration is a main driver for making the data open, right? And I think that's in here too, and I think that's really important, I think, for you personally to think about, is that.
And that is the standard operating procedure for us as a researcher. Instead of we scoop the data, your idea, people will try to contact you and make something together, right?
Yeah. And also the opposite of getting scooped, getting the credit when you're first to an idea. So I was helping a researcher at Sydney publish a data set, and she was working on a very, very similar data set in a very similar area to a research group in France who were also publishing their data, but she'd gotten to it first, and so she wanted to be able to prove by publishing the data that she was the original researcher that had done the research first. So by publishing the data, she was kind of like claiming her status in the discipline to say, no, I was here first, here is the evidence of it.
And also, in my opinion, if the scooping or the idea stealing is occurred, then don't blame yourself or blame other people that share the data as the good guys, but blame the thief. Yeah. So it's not really our burden to.
As Alex McBreckney always said, you're a researcher, just get a new ID, right?
Yeah.
Or as a PhD student, I can understand you might first want to go private, but I think claiming your stake using the DOI, right? Actually saying, I've got this, right? I've done this, and a DOI and putting a license on it or something like that, that might be just helping you with this, right? So there is, yes, it's definitely something that is a driver for all. I mean, if you talk to researchers or your professor, they will say, no, don't publish your data, someone might use your data. And I know, we all know how hard it is to collect good data. And if you spend your days out in the field, you know, working hard, sampling, doing all the lab work, or doing all the transcribing of interviews, or analyzing all the data, we know how hard it is to collect data, and we know that we don't want that data. But I think, as Gene says, if you can then publish it and actually put a DOI on it, you can also say, well, I've got this data, here it is, I've collected it.
Kind of putting a timestamp.
Yeah, and I've done it, and then, you know, other people can come up with it. You know, so it's both ways can be good, and you know, in the end, when people look at your data, even if you describe them very, very nicely, I think there still will be people having to email you and say, can you explain this bit? So you know that someone has looked at you now.
So in my own experience, I have this paper published in 2015, and then I shared the data. Just a few months ago, someone from Japan emailed me asking that he was actually in one of the sampling point, and he couldn't find the wells. So he was emailing me about where is the exact point of this well around this area. So there's a communication happening. Itu kan bagus, jadi kolaborasi itu berawal dari can start from a simple communication. Someone looking at your data and then he tried to verify your data and then he couldn't find the sampling point. And then I sent my student to go to the place somewhere in Jakarta, and it turns out that the wells is now covered by another building. There's a house now on top of the well. So yeah, but it's just interesting, and by that communication, that the person from Japan actually signed the paper. So yeah, it's really good thing. Ada lagi ini tentang ini, Pak? Ada komen mengenai inginnya apa, driversnya, dan barriersnya apa. Mungkin some of the people are actually saying because there's not enough regulation to force this thing to happen, and they keep telling me that they are waiting about the regulation, maybe from the university or from the Ministry of Education. Maybe we can promote this practice so that people in your university or maybe the people in Ministry of Education can learn from our example, growing examples, and then in the future they would make some regulation to force this thing to happen. Because it's really weird for me. They give us the money but never ask us about the data. So it's really easy to be a researcher in Indonesia, right? Really, you can ask Willem about how the practice that he usually be doing in Australia.
Well, this is brand new. I'll just show you this. So this is quite new. This has only happened, I think, in the last year or so. And I'm showing this to Jean as well. So I'll just try and highlight this because I think it'd be really useful to just have a look at this in terms when we talk about regulation. So I already said this, but I'll just show you the evidence now. So the ARC, the Australian Research Council, is, I don't know what the Indonesian equivalent is, probably the Department of Education. So this is our major Australian government funding body. It's very hard to get a research grant. There's only about, I think, less than 15% success at the moment, success rate. It's less than 50%, and it's a very big proposal that you have to write. So time versus reward means that I actually didn't put in the proposal this year because I couldn't find the time to actually do this well, and I knew that it was only a 10 or 15% chance of getting funded. In fact, if you have the word agriculture in it, you have even less chance of getting funded. We did a data analysis on that. So don't put the word agriculture if you want to get funded in Australia. Anyway, so funding, I'm just going to the discovery program. I'm going to, but the same rules will apply to all of them. And I'm going to discovery projects, which is the main ones I would apply for. And we looked at the funding rules. Or was it the agreement? No, it was the agreements, right? I think it was the agreements. Okay, so the funding agreements are basically is the contract you will get from the government about your fund. So they give you money, but you have to sign basically this contract, and the contract stipulates the regulations that you get the funding under. All right, let me see if I can open this. So, and we searched for, what did we search for? Search for data? I think I searched for data. Well, here's already some interesting things. I just need to check. Is it data? I can't remember because I don't find it here. Yes, so the final report, now that's appropriate, but there is somewhere in there, maybe it was on the, not on the contract, but maybe it was on the other one. I can't remember what I went for. No, this is the discovery one. Because this just says strongly encourages depositing, but I think the we saw, and so I just need to find that. But it's laureates, yes, no, you're right. Sorry, that's laureate. Sorry, and that was 2018. So I have this one. It's my fault. Thank you. So that one already said that it was strongly encouraged that you deposit your data into a publicly accessible repository. But I think the wording in the Discovery project was even stronger. It actually said you have to publish your data within 12 months of the, that seems to be the same one. Or maybe it wasn't the agreement, maybe I'll go back. So just close this. Maybe it wasn't the funding agreement, but it was actually the funding rules. But I'm trying to find it because it was very strong in language, and I think it's saying, talking about this regulation, lack of regulations, and so while maybe Indonesia is not yet doing it, I'm sure it will come in the future, right? It's something that we, yeah, maybe this was it. Here we go, I think. No, this is again, is that the open access? Oh, it's publication dissemination? No, it must be this one. No, it's not say. It still says just encourages. Yeah. I know there was someone, yeah, it just says encourages, but it doesn't say, I know I read, and I can't remember, I'll have to go and find it.
Publicly, yeah.
Yes, it says, so it says strongly encourages. Strongly encourages, so it doesn't say what I thought it said, another one. It just says strongly encourages, and you need to describe. But we saw a page, and I can't remember where it is, I'll have to find it again, where it actually said you have to publish your data within 12 months of the completion of the project. And so maybe it's not maybe it's completion. I'm just trying to find without having to read through the whole. This is the selection for you. No, so I'll have a search myself again to try and find the document, and then I'll show you. But I'm very sure that both of us saw it. That it said, so it says in the ARC in there for the projects, In Australia, it actually already says that if you get the money, you have to, after completion of the project, you have to publish your data. Now that might be in a university repository, that might be in another repository, but you have to actually publish your data. So the Australian government is already saying, we want to see your data. We don't want you to hold your data on your floppy disk or on your computer drive, right? You need to show us that you have that data. So this is following up on that.
Ya, jadi mungkin kita jangan menunggu aturan, tapi kita yang men-set up standar kita sendiri. Ya. Of course, we have to follow certain regulation or common understanding about when we can use the guidelines from this workshop about what data that can be directly open and what kinds of data that have to be wait until later stage. Tapi tujuannya, final destination-nya adalah there's an intention and will to share the data, regardless the scope and the.
Maybe I want to ask. Maybe people want to. What would be the answer if I'm a researcher? So I have a little role play. I say, oh, but no one tells me that I have to publish my data. There's no regulation from the university or the Department of Education. So I think the interesting thing is to think about what's the answer to that question if you want to argue that the data should be made open. I think that comes down to some of these things here, and we can go back to that slide. I don't know what I closed it, sorry. Oh, there it is, yeah, that's that page. So we can think about, that's, an argument, I guess, and these two are still, there are still arguments that you can say, yeah, well, but really, you as a researcher should be making this data available because you want to show that your research is reliable, and you want to make sure that publicly funded research is actually publicly available. Right? It's different when it's commercial research. I totally agree. If you have a commercial project, it really depends on the commercial partner and what the commercial partner. But you might be able to even use that argument with your commercial partner to say it's in your benefit to show that we've done the right work and that you as a commercial partner sponsored the right research and it came up a result. If they still want to then commercialize it, they still would be ahead because if you would have worked with them, they would have the knowledge. Not the person who's then going to look at the data. They would still have to start from scratch.
And sometimes also they use it for look for funding, the result of the research.
Yep. Yeah, it helps you find new funding. Yeah.
Absolutely. For company.
Okay. Don't touch.
Yeah, don't touch. And also we can we can go back to the basic philosophy of research, that good research should be replicable. Yeah, we have a good research have to be reproducible or replicable. We can redo the research. a good research is a research that can be redone by yeah, somebody else that is interested in research. So by doing that, we have to share the data in any way we can, with all the barriers, the commercialization, maybe in the data release agreement. We have to still keep our mind into those regulation, but our intention is to share the data to support the replicability of our research. Itu harusnya menjadi alasan yang utama. Jadi pada saat Ibu merasa tidak ada aturan yang menyuruh atau mewajibkan saya, maka setidaknya kembali ke basic requirement untuk riset. Kalau riset itu harus bisa diulang oleh orang lain. Gitu. Nah, untuk bisa mengulang, kita harus bisa menyediakan data dengan struktur, dengan cara yang kita bisa ingat dan kita bisa sebarkan ke orang.
So, one argument to the administrators of ITB, if you're speaking to the vice chancellor or the dean or whoever, somewhere high up, might be saying it will enhance the name of ITB because our research at ITB is verifiable, replicable. People can actually see what we've done. It's trustworthy. It is good research. It's research that we do, and it's not research that we're hiding results, where we're not showing everything that we're doing. So that might be a very good argument for an administrator to think about why they want open data at your university, because they might say this will actually be able to show that this university is a really trustworthy institution. So it's another kind of way to think about, and that's really in this increased public trust, and that can be really important for a university. If you as a university can say, you can trust this university. The research that we do, you can have a look at. You can check whether we've done the right thing. I think all those things can be really important for the institution itself. And that's, I think, is a strong argument. Is a strong basic argument to use to say the administration of a university why they want to go towards open data and open science.
Also, given the fact that all the files, all the data, maybe last year or 2 years ago, maybe after 1 year or 2 years later, you might find the complaint in your own matter. Yeah? So we have to set the procedure that you can still remember. Maybe 2 years or more, maybe below 20 years from now. Stop losing data. Ada lagi apa yang menyebabkan keengganan? Yeah, that make you reluctant to do this workflow. Other than simply laziness.
Yeah. No, not so much. But it's. I think it's human. Yeah. It's not so much laziness. It's human. You put off the things you don't want, you don't like. Yeah. You do the things you love first.
Yeah. Ada ini mungkin untuk mahasiswa, maybe for students, the big barrier when to talk to the supervisor, about this new thing, this new workflow to research. Mantap. Bisa maju sini kan? Oke.
I think I absolutely agree when in point 3 share about your data, because I still at that time I didn't have any confidence to share my data, because I think my project will be shared when this project is absolutely done and in that perfection, I think. That's
A certain level of perfection set by your supervisor.
But I think also if your data is early on nicely organized, well documented, all those kind of things, I think that's, you know, that could show something to other people. It can be an example for other people. So, you know, that might be in a way a reason to share your data early, because you actually can demonstrate that your data is well organized, your data looks good, your data, you're doing this work already here. So it's a, you know, it's another way of looking at it. But I understand it, you know, it's a very human thing. I feel the same way. Like I said, my PhD work from 1997, I still have to publish. So, or the data, I've published the papers, but I haven't published the data. So, you know, after this workshop, that's on my list of things to do, to go and do that, to try and publish all the data sets that I have, to try and make them available for everyone. So, but yeah, that's after they're finished. So yes, I don't. But I'm also, for my next data, next project I'm going to do, I'm going to make the data straight available from the start. That's my promise. You can check it.
Any thoughts? Yeah. Maju, Bu. Ini pakai kabel.
In my opinion, the point from this discussion is how to choose the best time to share data. Maybe I have to discuss first with my supervisor about that. Although I already published a paper, because it has the connection between what name, we'll talk about the name, possibility, and I have to choose.
Yeah.
And then I ever see the other author. I ever see the paper about the microbiology data. I'm really selling.
Oh, you have the experience?
Yeah, I
See
just
that.
read about that.
Written by Indonesian or no?
Then I can see the raw data, and I can see how the author analyzed it. Yeah, that is
Have a good impression. Jadi tetap memang untuk yang masih mahasiswa harus ada agreement dengan supervisor. Mungkin dari sisi supervisor itu it's my duty to keep telling people the same thing in various ways. Jadi sampai hari ini saya sudah punya 3 event. Up to now I have 3 events in April, June, and maybe September in the university to talk about this kind of thing. So I will push your supervisor.
I'd like to hear something from maybe that side, people who are actually in the research end. I think we've heard something from PhD students. I want to hear something from Andrew. You want to comment, or
masalah
who is a researcher? You know, who is
data yang
actually,
komersial itu punya.
do you see, is this a problem? Do you see any issues, barriers?
Especially
Yeah,
in
I think it's really
the commercial data
Yeah.
segment. Yes, more experience.
Sharing the data, especially for commercial data, for example, in my project, it's quite difficult. It's new to me also because the company it's certainly absolutely not usually companies. But there is another side of this. Sometimes if we make a good publication, the company can take advantage also For example, in some projects in geothermal, if the result is very good, and they can apply for a grant, more funding in World Bank, something like that. And the paper is way more for their applications. So that's about it. I would still have not, but this is a new thing for me also. Yes. Maybe later, 1 or 2 years later, I have more examples. Thank you very much.
If you look up in your administration and your faculty, your dean, what do you think that they say? If you say we should have all data open, you tell your dean or your vice chancellor, what do you think they will say?
I think principally they will agree because our data, they are all lecturers, they are all researchers, they are all academic. But the other side of organizations in university, there are administration. When the researcher and lecturer have position in administration, it becomes one of their consideration also. So it will be different. So basically, they agree. This is very good. It's open science. It's auditable. Our work is reproducible. But when they join the position of administration, they have to think about the legality, something like that. So kind of two sides story.
So yeah, there are two types of researchers here in ITB, and there's researchers that doesn't have any administrative position, and another researchers have administrative position. Yeah. So the one that doesn't have a position really it's not don't give too much thoughts about this kind of workflow, but the one that actually sit in one position, we can approach this kind of researchers to do this open data workflow and try and push them to make some examples from them so that more people can follow, because it's a
It could be in a regulation. I mean, if the university just says we are now going to make all researchers in this university will make an effort to make data available, make data open, and we will build the support structures, the library to help you do this.
Yes.
That's a funding investment decision by the university. It's a regulation. So that would be the thing I would try and ask, right? That's the discussion we have to have with the dean and the vice chancellor is how are we going to make this reality? Not just everybody doing it on their own, but can we actually get the university support this and make the infrastructure and the support available so people do this with all these benefits?
Yeah, we can do it by to entice people by this wonderful facility that we can build with low cost of money by making some agreement with the LSF or another institution, and then try to show that this system can do this. Because this is my experience with the in-archive. The in-archive, I once think that the in-archive should be used only for ITB researchers, and then I get negative response from the lecturers here, and then once I blow up the server into all the university, I join some WhatsApp group, Telegram group, and share the news. Then it becomes big, and then several professors actually want to try this system, and also I try to introduce to upload the data, because in the OSF-based server we can upload multiple files, unlike the eBrain system. So we can upload the papers, and then at some point we can also upload the Excel file maybe or the CSV file. Ya. Jadi itu memang kadang-kadang kita bisa balik, gitu. Jadi kita bisa mengiming-imingi people. Pak Wendan, this another. May I introduce Pak Wendan? This you came in. Yeah. So Pak Wendan is working in the field of chemical engineering. He has many works in membranes, to filter waters, and he also one of the user of in archive. Jadi ini untuk memasyarakat masalah pentingnya reproducible research. Jadi riset itu harus bisa diulang, dan kemudian untuk mendukung itu maka data juga harus disiapkan, dokumentasinya dengan rapi, gitu, supaya orang lain bisa melihat dan kita pun bisa di masa mendatang tetap bisa melihat data kita sendiri tanpa harus kehilangan data. Jadi tujuan dari ini itu kurang lebih. Nah, yang agak kami perlu masukan dari Bapak adalah Bapak sering bekerja dengan commercial factory, commercial industry about your membranes. Itu mungkin bisa share bit of comments on that, Pak Wendan. This is Willem from Faculty of Science, and this is Chin from University of Sydney Library. Yeah? Sydney University. Yeah.
Ya, saya
nggak ada, kebetulan pakai kabel, jadi nggak nyampe ke situ, Pak. Kalau berkenan boleh di sini. Ya. Mau berdiri boleh?
I don't know what to say.
Just to comment a bit about this.
I just had coffee downstairs and come up. Yeah, actually I'm working with chemical engineering, specifically membrane. But I was formerly industrial man. I work in industry before coming to lecture. And in 1988, I studied in Denmark for master at PhD. Then I worked in 1991 in New York, USA, for Biosynthesis Center. And after finished my PhD, I worked in Holland, in Enschede. It's a membrane company. Explore. Then after that, I worked in UNESCO in Australia, Sydney, University of New South Wales, with Han Costa. Han is now in Sydney University. Yeah. Yes. Then after that, I went back home here, and becoming a lecturer in college. Because my background is mostly in industry, so I built my own company without my name in it, of course. It's not loud. Yeah, but I know what to do. Yeah, but anyway, then I produce membrane commercially. So we have many applications in industry, also for household, domestic application. And of course, we research a lot also. Earlier, before I decided to be a professor at this university 2 years ago. So I was not writing a lot, mostly in industry. Then recently, because of the responsibility as a professor, so we must write. So last year, I submitted around 50 papers, and then 33 of them already published and still some more on the way, and we target around 50 papers this year. And because of that, I need his advice. I pushed last year, or maybe 2 years ago. Before that, I didn't know. Yeah, because when I decided to be a professor, I just tried to submit all papers. I thought all journals, they all must be focused, all of them index. But in fact, no. So, but then the last year we start, there somebody teach me.
Pendata ini menurut Bapak bagaimana?
Yeah, that's why I told you like that, because I don't know open data. I don't know focus on. Yeah, I'm just working. Yeah, so as an industrial man, so yeah, my experience is if you're going to write papers, certificates, it's not because in Indonesia it's like having tutorials or a short course on how to write. They feel that that's enough to write a paper. No, you have to be very professional in science. Yeah, you have to be very deep in your area or in your field. Yeah? Otherwise, even though that you are very expert in writing, you don't know what to write. Yeah, and that's what is missing. Like that. So, I decided to write last year. Yeah, because yeah, I read a lot. Yeah, we don't know. We can quickly transfer all our knowledge into. Yeah, I just to remind. I want to remind that in science is more important than just learn how to write. If you to write. Usually they forget about these things. Then to be a professional in Indonesia, especially in science, is a big challenge. If you
It's always great experience.
Yes.
It's important to hear how you get somewhere.
Yeah.
People don't, they look up, they see the person, and how do you get there, right? So that's a good story. But here's something also very much about underlying that. Try to make publicly available to people, or is that all commercial in confidence? Or
yeah, I put everything in my research gate. Yeah, you just went on research gate or something like that.
Including the data.
Yeah, anything, including all my projects. Yeah, I have at least 70 big projects industrially. Yeah, they are rupiah, $1 million. Yeah, they're all very big projects. One of the project is even $100 million US dollars. Yeah, this project is. If you don't find it, tell you research gate, and I will put everything is open. Yeah, I believe that because now, yeah, big. Yeah, there is a little bit difference experience maybe and common lectures because when we know Google in 1990s, yeah, the time I was just went back from Sydney, yeah, I was very suspicious. So in the future,
but subsequent. So we have another point of view about Google search.
Yeah, I was very suspicious that our infrastructure of research will be very much different in the future at the time. So that's why when I start as a lecturer, so I build my own workshop outside. It's 2 square meters, 2 floors, and then I build my own factory. What I think is actually is, yeah, we research on what we need in industry or in service, and then your question, if we know something, Yes, this was, and how to how to patents without paying any single cents. I know the trick. Yeah, I know the trick of patenting. Yeah, at least for 5 years we don't need to pay. Yeah.
Yes, another degree in law.
Yeah, I'm a lawyer. Also. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I know. You can just write me emails and yeah. Regarding data, yeah, that's what I can say because I don't know anything.
Ya. Jadi dalam workshop ini selain dari data Pak Wenten itu agree to share data. Hanya di sini kita detailkan lagi Pak, bagaimana agar your data that the one that you share in your paper can actually be reused by someone else. Yeah, with the easiest way possible to reuse the data. So, jadi basically this workshop is about it's not really about the intention of sharing, but how you share it that people can reuse your materials.
So, I think we covered most of this. I think we've got it fair. I've made notes of this. I've written it all down. It should be on the document on the Google Drive. You should be able to see it. So maybe we can go back to the just to go through that again.
Yeah.
Just make sure that we all understand where we are. So the idea was we started off with the research idea, and so this is how we got into this discussion. Because we have some research and some data, making use of research. Why? Because automation plan and edit your data when you're no longer there. That is, you might have moved to universities, you might have emigrated to Australia, you might have moved to somewhere else. Then you have to make those decisions. So that's an important part of that. So finally, what we talked about, we then said, if you are using a dynamic repository, where should you be looking? Well, again, their decisions really depend on the type of files that you are going to use and the kind of access that you want. Right? So that was the thing that we discussed there. We said you could go code, you could do large files, you could do documents, you could have. So there are ways you can store data. So all these are just tools to make the data. We didn't tell you everything. The web is big these days, and it could be all kinds of things. Started off with our re3data.org. Remember, that's where we started off to look at repositories. You might want to go back there and search for a repository that fits your area. You might have specialized data. You might look for that specific data repository that fits your where researchers are. It's RE3. Yeah, re3data.org. Right, and so you might if you're seeking collaboration, you might want to kind of focus where you put your data. Which is the reason why I'm using GitHub, because I know everybody who codes uses GitHub, or really the serious coders use GitHub. That's why I put things on GitHub, because people will find my code. Right? And so it's no, I keep writing. I'm dyslexic. I must be dyslexic. Keep going on okay. Then what we did, just to read, so that was all this. We spent a lot of time on this in the first 2 days. We spent a lot of time talking about these things. And then the last thing we really spent a bit of time on, and we tried to introduce in, was using R or using another scripting language. Remember, we demonstrated R, we demonstrated R Markdown, but you could also use another scripting language. There really is no reason why R is the best choice. It's just we like it. And we can give you support in R. I can't help you with Python. MATLAB. Or MATLAB. I can definitely not do MATLAB. I have no idea what MATLAB. And I don't know whether MATLAB Markdown is an option.
It's, I don't remember.
No.
I think that did, but I haven't.
No. So you have to write more comments. Someone told me that if you write code, 50% of your code should be comments. Right? So you might want to go back and check your code where you've got 50% of it being comments. Right? That's why I like Markdown, because I can write text with the code. Anyway, so we spent quite a bit of time. The story about that one is about reproducibility. Right? That's the reason why we show you R and R Markdown. It is all about reproducibility. It is about someone else being able to pick up your research and read you. I want to show 2 things, or at least one. So I'm going to go to.
It's not connected to this one.
Okay, sorry. Yes, very good. Can you get me just back into webs? Right, just in webs. Yeah. I'm just going to go to GitHub. That might end up in your GitHub. So I want to tell a little story here. I might just. No, I can go actually to my own, right? I should be able to just go search Willem de Voort, right? Yeah. No, it's not there. Let's see what we can find here. I might be here. Somewhere here. There's lots of Willems. Okay, I'll try something else. That's not working. Too many Willems. That's not good.
Maybe we can open the repository and sorry.
This way. Because this is the one I want to show. Okay, so I'll tell you a little story about that. So I also tried to publish papers. I don't do 50 a year. If I can do 3, I'm very happy. So this was a paper I tried to publish in Journal of Hydrology, and I've had real problems. It's a little story about, we analyzed the data from 13 catchments in Australia and looked at trends, particularly trying to pick up whether there's any evidence of climate change in the stream flow. And we had a little, we did some, we constrained our data set to only forested catchments that were less than 250 square kilometers for certain reasons. It's just trouble getting it published. There were, and particularly, I sent it to Journal of Hydrology, and the Journal of Hydrology, one of the reviewers came back with a comment, and I was very annoyed about this, that he said, there's something I can't really, I don't really know, I can't really explain where it is, but there's something wrong with this analysis, and therefore I reject the paper. It was a bit longer argument, but that was the essence of it, right? And so the paper got rejected by the editor because that person rejected it. 2 other reviewers liked it, but that, so I was very angry. I was extremely angry, and you're allowed to be angry too when you get that kind of comment. And so what I did is I actually then decided I would get them back. So I wrote the whole analysis. I actually redid the whole workflow. And that's this repository. And so here are markdown files and PDFs of the whole analysis of all the data, all the work that I did, right? With all the analysis, all the modeling, all the data is available on the GitHub as well. I explained where I found the data, where I got it from, what the websites were, which data, how did I select the data. So basically I did the whole open science, and then I sent it back to Journal of Hydrology, and I put a link into this GitHub. And I said, and I also used Zenodo, if you can see here, I'll go back. I used Zenodo to put a DOI on, and said that it was because I submitted the paper to Journal of Hydrology. There's a DOI for the associated workflows and data. And I also explained that made a README to try yet from Journal of Hydrology, but I don't know. Oh, it's a year or something like that. Yeah. I can't remember when I submitted it. It's a long time. No, it's actually a couple of months now. It's a couple of months, something like 6 months.
The thing that you get angry that you have this.
That's right. So for me, this was my first attempt at open data and open science, and I actually really enjoyed it, even though it was a lot of work. But I think it was, and I think that Journal of Hydrology really, and so I wrote basically my comment reviews back. I'm really interested to know where that area is, because I'm really happy. Hoping to hear back from them. A positive result. Understand that the best, right? So that